ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Cycles of Sociopath, Chris has joined me on this one. Finally got someone to help me out with them. We're going to go over Richard Kuklinski, aka Big Richie, or his best known from the film The Iceman. Now,
when you say the phrase "steely-eyed killer," this literally is the guy that you're talking about.
Fuck yeah, he's in the dictionary right next to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did a couple of watched a couple of documentaries about this guy beforehand, and because you're interested in him, I'm interested in him. I love the movie, but this guy was legitimately the coined phrase of "give no fucks and he'll murder you" is this guy, Richard Kuklinski. But Kuklinski was engaged in criminal activities for most of his adult life. He ran a burglary ring and just distributed pirated pornography. Basically, he was the first person to do that. And, well, there's probably been a lot of them that's done that. But he pirated pornos. Now, what's really sad is rings like his and everything would just drop because all that stuff is free online now.
Right. You talking about taking away? That's how you decrease crime.
Yeah,
just put it online and make it free.
Well, that part of the crime, yeah.
Just take it away from him.
He's recorded as being committed 5 murders between 1980 and 1984. Prosecutors described him as someone who killed for profit. Kuklinski lived with his wife and children in New Jersey suburbs of Dumont. They knew him as a loving father and husband, although one who also had a violent temper. They stated that they were unaware of his crimes. He was given a marker Iceman by authorities after they discovered he had frozen the body of one of his victims in attempt to disguise the time of death, which I don't know if that works.
No, it doesn't.
I see this freaking thing all the time. I'm gonna have to memorize it use it as a actual word in my
modus operandi.
Kuklinski's modus operandi was to lure Mill into clandestine meetings with promise of lucrative business deals, then kill them and steal their money. He also killed two associates, preventing them to becoming informants. Eventually, Kuklinski came to the attention of law enforcement when an investigation into his burglary gang linked him to several murders, as he was the last person to see the 5 missing people alive. I guess that whole dead man tell no tales thing he took to heart.
That was except they did.
An 18-month-long undercover operation led to his arrest in December 1986. In 1988, he was convicted of 4 murders and sentenced to life imprisonment. In 2003, he received an additional 30-year sentence after confessing to the murders of a police officer, Peter Calabaro. After his murder conviction, Kuklinski gave interviews to writers, prosecutors, criminologists, and psychologists. He claimed to have murdered anywhere from 100 to 200 men, often in gruesome fashion. None of these additional murders have been corroborated. Kuklinski also claimed that he worked as a hitman for the mafia. He said he participated in several famous mafia killings, including the disappearance, presumed murder of Teamster President Jimmy Hoffa. Law enforcement and organized crime experts had expressed skepticism about Kuklinski's claim to mafia ties. He was subject to 3 HBO documentaries in 2009. 1992, 2001, and 2003, and several biographies. In 2012, filmed feature film with Michael Shannon in The Iceman. Now, going over, before we go fully over on this and everything, during the interviews that he did, and they're all online. All you have to do is type his name on YouTube or anything like that, and you can pop in on his interviews. The reason why I couldn't like fully finish him because his speech pattern, he was like, that was the only annoying thing. I personally would have killed him for that.
Whenever I would watch him, I was too busy watching his eyes because he has dead eyes. They're just completely dead.
Yeah, when he was doing the whole interviews and everything, he literally it was so ominous that he was like,
there was one thing that always stood out, and I don't remember which documentary it was, but one thing that always stood out to me was there was one time where he was talking to the guy, and they started laughing about something. And Richard looked at him and he was like, "This isn't a good thing. This isn't good." And the interviewer was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And he goes, "We're just, laughing, joking like I'm just a regular guy." He goes, "I'm not." He goes, "I'd kill you right now if I had a reason to." He goes, "You're a nice guy. I would kill you right now." And he goes, "And then I would go and sleep very well then." He's like, "You need to remember who you're talking to." And I was like, it just, and he like, what was frightening about it is he didn't look angry. He actually had like almost a smile on his face when he said it. I'll kill you right now if I had a reason to." He goes, I don't have a reason. That's why you're alive. But just the deadpan, just, and like his name, Iceman, just a cold delivery of it. Like, your life means literally nothing to me.
Well, what's really funny, and it just popped in my head, you know how me and you are, something pops in our head.
Oh,
okay, the same person also played a warrant officer in 12 Strong.
12 Strong, yep.
And there was a scene where the head war chief was he was expecting Michael Shannon's character in that one. He's like, no, this guy right here, he's the killer. He has steely eyes. He's a warrior right there. He has the eyes of a killer. I was like, that's how he got the job. Because they more or less came out the same year, didn't they?
No.
Yeah.
No. 12 Strong came out in like 20.
Oh, 2018. Yeah. Okay.
I knew there was at least a few years of separation between the two of them.
Yeah.
I thought Iceman came out first.
Iceman did come out first. It did. It's 2012. But also one last thing before we get fully started. I should have done this early in the show. Fade and Shave place here in Wichita Falls. They're the ones that did all this beautiful cutting and everything. I told him I'd get him a shout out and shout it out. He's a great guy.
If
I brought the
I
card.
ever get up there to Wichita Falls, I'm come see you guys.
Yeah.
Get this tamed. This needs to be back under control.
Yeah, reasonable price too. Compared to a lot of places in town that I won't want.
Yeah, some of them get a little out there.
But I'll leave a description below of all the stuff and everything on that guy. Because we had a good conversation. It was like being in an old barbershop back in the day.
Oh, nice.
So we had a good conversation. He literally is like, I don't do long hair or anything. We're just men only. It's men club. We're just gonna do men club. I'm like, I'm all for that. Not a bad idea.
So,
yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, early life, Rich Kuklinski was born into a family apartment of 4th Street in Jersey City, New Jersey, to Stanley Kuklinski, a Polish immigrant from. Holy crap!
I'm not gonna try to say that. Okay, hey, let's try. Car watch, Masovian voivodeship.
Karwog's Masovian voivodeship.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's pretty close. Go me.
Yay.
I'm not even Polish.
Yeah. Where is that at?
Poland?
Yeah, okay. It is in central Poland. Okay. Weird. His father worked as a brakeman on the Delaware, Lackawanna, and
Lackawanna.
Western.
That I do.
Lackawanna. And Western. Oh, okay. And Western Railroad. His mother was Anna McNeil from Hersimus. Yeah, Hersimus, New Jersey. A devoted Catholic, first-generation Irish American who worked in a meatpacking plant. He was the second of 4 children. According to Kuklinski, his father, Stanley, was a violent alcoholic who beat his children regularly and sometimes beat his wife. Stanley abandoned the family while Richard was still a child, but returned periodically, usually drunk, and his returns would often follow by a beating for Richard. Anna Kuklinski reportedly was also oftenly abused. She was beaten. Abusive. God. She would beat Richard with a broom handle, sometimes breaking the handle on his body during the assaults and other household objects. He recalled an incident during his preteen years when his mother attempted to kill his father, Stanley, with a kitchen knife. Anna was a zealot Catholic and believed that a stern discipline should be accomplished by strict religious upbringing. Richard, therefore, was raised in a Roman Catholic church and served as an altar boy. Kuklinski later rejected Catholicism, his regard of his mother as a cancer who destroyed everything she touched. Kuklinski had 3 siblings, a brother Joseph, convicted in 1970 of raping a 12-year-old girl and murdering her by throwing her and her dog off of a 5-story goddamn building.
And see, there's the Iceman again.
Yeah, when he asked about his brother's crime, Kuklinski replied, "We come from the same father." Oh well. Now here's a thing. I don't know if this is actually true, but there is a scene in the Iceman movie to where the guy's like Brian begging his character, Michael Shannon's character, not to kill him. He's like, "Go ahead, I'll sit, I'll wait. Go ahead, pray to God. I'll give you 5 minutes. See if he's going to save you." And they do this whole thing. He's like praying God and everything like that. It was like, time's up.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
And again, that's whether it happened that way or not. It's probably debatable, but it's in keeping with his demeanor and character of at least for what we know on the outside of it.
yeah,
It's well in keeping. Like, it's extremely believable they would do something like that,
yeah,
especially knowing his disdain for it sounds like religion in general,
yeah,
Catholicism
Catholicism.
in specifically.
Yeah. So his earlier crimes in 1960, Kuklinski worked in a Manhattan film lab. Though the lab he had claimingly mastered copies of popular films, he had made bootleg copies of a Disney animated film to sell. Kuklinski, oh, horrible man, then. Disney will
Do
track you
that
down
shit
and
now.
kill you.
Do that now. Disney will put him in Disney will put him in the dirt.
Yeah. Clancy also discovered a lucrative market of tapes of pornography movies. Copying and distributing pornography was a regular source of income for him. He was also once arrested for passing a bad check. The only crime he was charged with prior to his arrest for his murder. He was a photographed and fingerprinted, but the charges were dropped after he agreed to pay back the money owed. Several of his known murder victims were men he met through trafficking pornography and drugs. He also headed a burglar group with Gary Smith, Barbara Deepner, Daniel Deppner, and Percy House. Now, we're just going to go over a couple of his murders because from, it's hundreds. They got a couple of these, how he did it. Just to give you a general idea of how he murdered and what he did and the reason why he did it. On January 30th, 19. What was that?
I say at least the reason that he gave.
Yeah, reason he gave. But George Melbourne, on January 30th, 1980, Kuklinski killed George Melbourne during a meeting to sell him tapes, the porn tapes. Melbourne was reported carrying $27,000 at the time. You know what? I always like doing this. Going in. So this is 1980. Yeah.
January 30th. So actually, that was anniversary. That was just a little bit ago.
Due to inflation, $97,000 nowadays. So that's still
That's a good chunk.
good chunk of change. Melbourne's body was discovered a week later on February 5th, 1980. Kuklinski had placed him in a 55-gallon drum and left it near the Chemtex chemical plant in New Jersey. He cut the tendons off of Melbourne's leg in order to fit the corpse in the barrel. This was the first murder linked to Kuklinski. Milbrand brother told police officers that Milbrand was meeting Kuklinski the day he disappeared. After a plea bargain, Kuklinski admitted to shooting Milbrand 5 times, saying it was just due to business. Another person that unfortunately made his meeting with Kuklinski in 1982. Now this guy he's not brother or anything that we know of actual one of his other supposedly victims that we don't have any kind of data for. But Kuklinski met Paul Hoffman, a 51-year-old pharmacist who occasionally browsed the store in Patterson, New Jersey. A storefront with a back room holding a wide variety of stolen items for sale. Hoffman hoped to make a big profit by purchasing stolen Tegment, a popular drug to treat pancreatic ulcers, to resell through his pharmacy. He believed Kuklinski could supply the drugs and bargained him to make a deal. Hoffman was the last seen on his way to meet Kuklinski with $25,000 to buy the prescription drugs from Kuklinski. After another plea bargain, Kuklinski admitted to killing Hoffman. On April 29, 1982, he stated that he lured Hoffman into a rented garage and tried to shoot him, but the gun jammed. Instead, he beat Hoffman to death with a tire iron. He said he then stuffed the body into the 55-gallon drum and left it inside a motel in Little Ferry. One day, Kuklinski noticed that the drum had disappeared, but never moved up too far. Had disappeared, but never learned what happened to it. Hoffman's body was never recovered. Now, here's the thing.
That's a crazy one. Is that one? I guarantee somebody that worked at the hotel there saw this thing sitting outside there, and they probably just wheeled it to the dumped it, and that was it.
Yeah,
I almost guarantee us that.
No, we'll go over Louis Masquet discovered. That's where it eventually ends. Now, here's the thing on this, though. Reading up on all these and everything, and this is going on a solely business planning and idea. Okay, why the fuck would you kill people that you're actually making money off of?
He was paranoid, dude.
Yeah, I understand the paranoia and everything, and I know where
that
you
was
go. Now,
that was the thing is that he was, and he says it was a business like transaction. It was a thing. Is their worth to him did not outweigh the risk of them turning on him, whether it be going to the authorities or going to a rival, anything like that. The risk they posed to him was greater than what he was actually able to make off of them. And that's one thing I know. In one of the documentaries, he actually explained that.
Oh, okay.
He's like, he goes, I'd kill my best friend if I thought that he was going to turn on me.
Was he solely, was he solely like super paranoid and everything? Because it's sounding like he had paranoia to the extent where I couldn't really deal with it.
See, and that's the thing. I don't know if necessarily paranoia is the right word, as he was, and this is going to sound weird because this is exactly what paranoia is, but he had an overabundance of caution. But he was also, there was he was a sociopath. So killing meant nothing to him. So that was his way of removing the problem. So if he felt there was an issue, felt there was a problem, then he's just going to kill the person and be done with it. And then he'll go and move on to the next whatever he was doing that day. That's where the sociopathy comes into play. It wasn't necessarily a paranoia in your traditional sense of what you think paranoid people would act. Because a lot of them, when you get into that level of paranoia, they become unstable. He was stable, at least, as much as you can be to be a mass killer. but yeah, it wasn't your traditional paranoia like you think of, like with meth heads and crackheads and stuff like that. They get completely irrational. He was coldly rational about it. So he was paranoid, and there was fear in him in what that person would do to him. But he was very, very coldly rational in how he was going to handle it. If you posed a threat to him, he was removing the threat. That's what it comes down to.
I guess, but just going off of the first murder that he did, to me, they had to have some kind of conversation to where something made sense to kill this guy, because it's during me. He sold this guy tapes and everything. See, there's not. I guess he didn't put in that much information on these because it doesn't show that he. Now, the murders that he did with the other burglars in his crew that just popped in and popped out, I can understand those. But unless they said something, they got into some kind of argument or something like that. It's just, I guess,
on that first one, I don't know.
It's one of those things that you had to be there type deal to understand what was his true thinking. I mean, even though he's done like several interviews, and I didn't see. I don't know why the interview didn't ask. It's like, well, why did you kill that guy? What was the purpose of killing that guy? And he always said it was just business. And I was like, no, seriously. That's a bad business plan. What did he say to get killed? Because I mean, a lot of mafia people, researching mafia people and everything, they have to have a reason to kill you, or it's bad for business. And they'll literally say it's bad business, kill a person. Like if you're running like a bookkeeping, if you're a bookkeeper and someone doesn't pay up as fast, they'll negotiate you at first, then they'll break your leg.
Right.
Then
there's escalations. That's there's escalations.
There's steps to your murder,
right,
so to speak.
But see, that's you're dealing with, your run of the mill criminal there, which I hate to say mafia is a run of the mill, but that's they don't have that sociopathy that he brought into play with it.
I mean, yeah, I guess
so. The way that they approach business is going to be much different than somebody who's looking at it from his point of view.
Yeah. And the murder that got him discovered on September 25th, 1983, the body of Louis Maskey was discovered near a town park near Clusland Mountain Road in Oregontown, New York, with a bullet hole in the back of his head. Maskey disappeared over 2 years earlier on January 1st, 1981. The date he was to meet Kuklinski at a New Jersey diner to purchase a large quantity of blank video cassette recorder tapes. That was a big word just to say VHS tapes. But anyway, for which Maskey had 95,000 in his van. His body was, man, that's probably about 125,000 right there.
Oh no, because 27,000 was like 94,000 today. So you're talking 25. You're probably talking close to 250.
And I know why that, because just reading that one part, let me
look it up and see. So now I want to know.
Well, not that part. Okay. I'll get into where what I'm talking about.
But think, man, that's $95,000 for VHS tapes.
I'll give you a reason why. I'll give you a reason why. Well, how is it? Okay, well, back it up. $249 and some change.
Damn, I was almost exactly on.
Yeah. Now, okay.
Holy shit!
I know the reasoning why these were expensive at that time frame.
Because they're recordable. Where they're rewriting.
And the reasoning why they were that expensive during this time frame, if you watch a documentary of The Last Blockbuster on Netflix, and I didn't know this until the reason why that like Blockbusters and like your local renting store was so popular during that time frame was because the movies that were set on VHS tapes at the time, guess what their price were?
Well, they were like $30, $40, weren't they?
When they first originally came out? No.
Oh.
$100 a movie. Yeah.
$100.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is the realm of their thinking. This is the movie industry's thinking. Reason why it was so.
Oh, you're saying for Blockbuster to buy them?
No. This is ordinary people.
$100. Damn.
Well, this is the reasoning for that time frame because this was a new technology at the time.
Yeah.
And the reasoning on this was the basic fact of people they believe, like as we believe they believe now, with because during the pandemic we're not allowed to go to theaters. So they thought the theaters were dead, which they're not fully dead. People like to go out and socialize. The big social thing to do at a cheap price. Now, some people, they just can't afford it. I understand that. Every once in a while, I like to go to theaters, especially if it's a big movie, big screen. I'll go at the late show, so I don't have to deal with the peoples because I'm not sociable.
Right. Like Cocaine Bear, I'm going to watch in the theaters.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm definitely watching that motherfucker in theaters. They're going to get my money a couple of times.
That one, I cannot wait to watch that one in theaters.
One, it's Ray Lillo's last movie.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw that.
But their reasoning was because they're going to go on tapes, theaters where they make their most profit aren't going to be around anymore, so they set the price to $100. Well, they set the price at $100, so the VHS tapes, the blank ones, were really expensive too.
No, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And that's where it spawned like your neighborhood movie rental place. You can go rent movies and everything. But that's where it actually spawned from, because movies were so expensive, and hence Blockbusters, and then nowadays it's just streaming services. So
yeah, exactly. Interesting.
But we still. What's funny is, and me and Johnny addressed this at the time frame. I think what was the first movie? Oh, Wrath of Man. That was the first movie that went to theaters and we were able to go see, and we wanted to go see.
Right.
The propaganda machine, and me and Johnny both talked about this. The propaganda machine, trying to get people. If you're in theater and you're watching this, it shouldn't be there type deal.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why are you watching your movies on a small screen? And I'm not gonna lie, my screen is not small. I got a 65-inch TV.
I was gonna say, yeah, screens now have gotten.
I mean, I thought about going out and buy me a. Yeah, I thought about going and buy me a 75-inch TV.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's literally like $600.
I was gonna say, like they're actually affordable
for the 650 for the 65-inch. But
you remember when they had the first big screen TVs, the big monstrosities, and they were what, 55? And you're talking $4,000 or $5,000 for these things.
Yeah, I bought one of those.
They weren't even the good ones now.
No, they're the projector TVs because they couldn't figure out the technology.
It was a rear projector, yeah.
And the smaller TVs were murder weapons.
Oh yeah. We'll send
Dude, I still me and I
dude.
was
You know,
like,
you remember those? My first TV was one of those 13-inch TV VCR combo deals.
yeah,
That
you
was my
put them in
first
the
TV
dorm.
when I was in the Army. Yep, I
Yeah.
had that in the barracks.
But those things, I mean, you had to have an extra person to move that damn thing.
Oh yeah,
Fuck,
because I
those.
remember my dad bought us a TV for actually it was me and my ex's first anniversary. He bought us a TV, and it wasn't anything. It was a 36-inch or some shit like that, just a regular old TV. And it took me and him to cart it up the stairs. This thing was heavy.
Now I can take my 65-inch because I moved myself to my apartment with my dad, and he's like, "You got that TV?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah. I have I think this one is a 55 or 60-inch. It's not super huge, but I can carry this comfortably by myself.
yeah." All right, let's get back on here. How on we're still on Louis Masgay.
Yes, it was the
However, Kuklinski,
frozen.
yeah, Kuklinski did not want the corpse before he dumped it. Kuklinski did not thaw the corpse before he dumped it. He also wrapped it in a plastic garbage bag, which kept it insulated and particularly frozen. The Rockland County Medical Examiner found ice crystals inside the body on a warm September day. If the body had thawed before discovery, the medical examiner stated he probably would never have noticed Kuklinski's trickery. Investigators realized Masgay was wearing the clothes his wife and son had said he was wearing the day he disappeared. Discovering Kuklinski's frozen Masgay's corpse encouraged law enforcement officers to nickname him the Iceman, which that was the reason why he got the nickname. But in all reality, if you actually look at the videos and everything, he's just basically
Yeah,
Iceman.
It's super fitting on him.
Yeah.
Regardless of the freezing.
Investigation in the arrest of Kuklinski came to the attention of Pat Kane, an officer with the New Jersey State Police, when an informant helped Kane connect him to a gang carrying out burglaries. God, dyslexia fucking bitch sometimes. Burglaries in northern New Jersey. He built a file on him, eventually 5 unsolved homicides: Hoffman, Smith, Dapper, Masgay, and Milburn. Bam. Were linked to Kuklinski's because he was the last person seen with these people alive. A joint task force and law enforcement officials titled Operation Iceman was created between New Jersey's Attorney General Office and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, dedicated to arrest and convict Kuklinski. Why was the ATF after him? Okay, due to Kuklinski's firearm sales. Okay. Ask the question before I answer myself. Dumbass. Why would you let me do that, Chris?
Because it's amusing to me.
Okay. Fair enough.
Why do I do any of the shit that I do?
Yeah. ATS Special Agent Dominique Profont went undercover for 18 months to apprehend Kuklinski. Starting in 1985, Kane and Profont worked with Phil Solomon, a close longtime friend of Kuklinski, to get Profont close to Kuklinski, posing as a mafia-connected criminal named Dominique Provenoza. Profond purchased a handgun muffler combination from handgun muffler. Fucking Yankees. That's all I gotta say. Okay. Just after that, I'm curious about that. I'm seriously curious about that.
Oh
Um,
my god, I've literally never heard it called.
yeah, it's still a suppressor.
It's of course it's a suppressor.
Yes,
A
but never
handgun muffler.
muffler. That's what it says. And it's a combination of it. From Kuklinski. In recordings, Kuklinski discovered a corpse he kept in a freezer for 2.5 years, and he told Profilone he prefers poisoning, saying, "Why be messy? You do it nice and calm." He asked Profilone if he could supply him with pure cyanide, and that was another MO of his that he did. Was he did a lot of poisonings?
Which is strange because that is typically a female MO is poisoning.
Yeah.
That's very strange, and especially if you've seen Richard, like he is a big burly dude. Like
Yeah, he's a man's man.
Oh, for sure. Like he would be the last one you would think would be doing poisoning.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little deadly nightshade on this stuff, and I'm just gonna go. And then he just goes, and you're like,
He just salt bays a little cyanide.
yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Well, he's done that. In the documentary, that's what he said. He was like, he'll sprinkle it on the food. He'll put it in the drink. It's just he used a lot of different ways to kill people.
Yeah.
Profilone told Kuklinski he wanted to hire him to murder a wealthy Jewish cocaine dealer and record Kuklinski speaking in detail how he would do it. Kuklinski was also recorded boasting he killed a man by putting cyanide on his hamburger, and his plans to kill a couple of raps, Barbara Depper and Percy House. Sorry. On December 17th, 1986, Kuklinski met Profane to get cyanide for a planned murder, which was to be attempted on a undercover police officer. After the courting conversation with Profane, Profone. Yeah. Kuklinski went for a walk. He tested Profone's cyanide on a stray dog using a hamburger as bait and saw it was not poison. Suspiciously, Kuklinski decided not to go through with the planned murder and went home instead. He was arrested on roadblock at a roadblock 2 hours later. His wife was charged with disorderly conduct for interfering with his arrest. Officers discovered a firearm in the vehicle, and she was charged with possession of a firearm because she was a passenger. And this is, and I hate to say it, this is a regular MO with cops because they don't know who to arrest at this point. What they really end up doing is they'll put as many charges as they possibly can on a person, and hopefully something sticks.
Yeah,
and a lot of
throwing
people
spaghetti at a wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And understand the weird laws that we have. Like there's a law still in Chicago that if you're ugly, you can get charged. And the reasoning why what that was because of Al Capone, because he had a scar on his face. That's the whole reason for that. I mean, there's a law that you can't spit on the road or spit on the sidewalk. And the reasoning why that was because people dipped, and at that time frame, and they just don't get rid of the laws. People dipped and they would spit on the wooden planks that was considered a sidewalk, and it would corrode the sidewalk a lot faster.
Right.
I'm surprised I learned that. Stupid shit I learned throughout my life.
Yeah, like it's illegal to drive barefoot in Montana. If you are going to dance on the table in Montana, you have to be wearing at least, oh God, what is it? Something like 9 pounds of clothing or something like that. there's an actual, you have to have, if you're going to dance on the table, you have to be wearing a certain amount of clothing.
Huh.
That's not enforced either.
I
And
don't,
honestly, how are you going to enforce driving barefoot? Like, unless you're actually pulled over, they're never going to know.
well, yeah, there was
I
probably
used to drive barefoot
there is
all the
probably
time.
some reason they found out once someone was they wanted to prosecute someone, and that was the only way to get him
100%.
prosecuted. It's stupid how some of the laws were actually made.
That they're still on the books.
Yeah. Prosecutors charged Kuklinski with 5 murder counts and 6 weapon violations, as well as attempted murder, robbery, and attempted robbery. Law enforcement officials said Kuklinski had a large sum of money in Swift bank accounts and a reserved on a flight to that country. Kuklinski was held on bond for $2 million and made to surrender his passport. After the arrest, Kuklinski told reporters, "This is unwanted, unnecessary. These guys watch too many movies." At the press conference, they had a press conference with Kuklinski. Wow, that's weird. Well, I guess,
Oh, no,
given up that he was actually
Attorney
someone in the at a press conference, the New Jersey State Attorney General W. Carl Edwards characterized the motives for the murderers as profit and said he set individuals up for business deals. They disappeared, and the money ended up in his hands. I guess he was part of the community in some way. I didn't come up with anything that he was like Giuliani, not Giuliani. Who's that one mafia that like give turkeys out for Thanksgiving in New York, in the Bronx? Gotti.
You're talking about
John Gotti.
yeah.
Yeah. John Gotti used to do that all the time. John Gotti was one of those mafia people that mafia didn't want because he's like, yeah, I'm in the mafia and I do stuff. And
Yeah,
he loved to
he
be
didn't
in
exactly
the camera.
hide it. Yeah,
He loved to be in the camera.
well, 100%.
And for the longest time, mafia, if you're an actual mafia member, the word mafia was not allowed to be spoken. And they hindered that mafia word. That's the reason why for the longest time nobody knew about the mafioso gangs and everything like that. They just called them either gangs or organized crime. Mafia was never, because it's a horrible word for it.
Yeah.
But anyways, at the trial, Kuklinski, formerly associate, including Percy House, Robert Deeper, gave evidence against him, as did the ATF agent Profone. The case was prosecuted by Deputy Attorney General Robert Carl, who Kuklinski was represented by a public. He was represented by a public defender. That
Well, they probably froze his assets so he couldn't get to his Swiss bank accounts. Otherwise, he would have hired a better lawyer.
could they done that back then?
Oh, 100%. That's why he had all those. I mean, that was the thing is once they're linked, you know, they can freeze those accounts. But that's the thing.
Yeah,
with
they
Swiss
can
bank
freeze those
accounts.
accounts, but this is like in the 80s.
Yeah,
Did they freeze accounts in the 80s?
I'll
Because
bet you did.
that wasn't like damn it.
Because they wouldn't have to do it online. They would have just called the bank itself and say, "Hey, freeze his accounts."
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess they okay.
Like I said, all it would take would be either a phone
Contacting the
call
bank,
or they would just wire the bank, and as long as they had the account,
Because you really
information.
didn't hear like uh freezing of accounts till like the 90s and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It was more prominent in movies and everything.
Mm.
And when you're reading like articles, well, I didn't read news articles from the 80s. I'm just now like doing articles now.
you do
now. Yeah. But it's one of those things from the movies that I remember back then. They never mentioned that in the movies when they were arresting people.
Yeah.
So like it's just one of those things. Kuklinski's lawyer argued Kuklinski had no history of violence and only projected a tough image, including his statements to ATF Special Agent Provone. The defense theorized Deeper was responsible for the murders of Smith, and there was no cause of death determined for Deeper. Oh, fucking hell. Maybe we should have all gone over that. Yeah, he murdered Daniel Deeper, the husband.
Yeah.
That's the reason why she's prosecuting. Maybe we should have gone over one more. We dropped the ball on that one, man. We're Cowboys at that point. Additionally, he argued the testimony of House and Barbara Depper was unreliable because they lied to law enforcement official, and House received immunity from prosecution. In March 1988, jurors found Kuklinski's guilty of murder of Smith and Dipper, but found the deaths were not proven to be able to Kuklinski's count. Kuklinski's conducted, meaning he would not face the death penalty. He was then sentenced to a minimum of 60 years in prison. After the trial, Kuklinski pleaded guilty to killing Mass Gay and Melbourne Brand. Kuklinski was sentenced to an additional 2 life sentences to be served consecutively. State prosecutors explained he would spend the rest of his life in prison if he had successfully if he had successful appeals to his previous convictions. Kuklinski also confessed to killing Hoffman, but prosecutors decided not to go to trial as he had a weak case, and an additional life sentence would not impact Kuklinski's prison stay. As part of a plea bargain, the firearm charges against his wife and unrelated marijuana possession charge against his son were dismissed. Kuklinski was ineligible for parole in 2046 when he would have been 111 years old. He could have made it. He was incarcerated in Trenton State Prison. During his incarceration, Kuklinski granted interviews to prosecutors, psychologists, criminologists, and writers. Several television producers also spoke to Kuklinski about his criminal career, upbringing, personal life. These talks cumulative in 3 televised documentaries known as the Eichmann tapes, broadcasted on HBO in 1992, 2001, and 2003. According to his daughter, Merritt Kuklinski, her mother convinced Richard to do the interviews and was paid handsomely for them. The last installment, The Iceman and the Psychologist, Kuklinski was in the interview by renowned forensic psychologist Dr. Park Diaz. In 2002, Diaz stated he believed Kuklinski suffered from antisocial personality disorder plus paranoia personality disorder. That was a why couldn't they just said paranoia? Writers Anthony Bruno and Philip Carlo wrote biographs of Kuklinski. Kuklinski's wife Barbara received a share of the profits from Bruno's book. Now it's just going over the other victims and everything. One of the main victims that the Iceman actually killed Kuklinski. In his 2001 HBO interview, Secrets of the Mafia Hitman, Kuklinski said that he was He knew who killed the former Teamster, the Union president Jimmy Hoffa. Kuklinski did not claim any personal involvement in Hoffman's disappearance and presumed murder, and did not identify any culprit. However, he later claimed he killed Hoffman. In his accounts, Kuklinski was part of a four-man kidnapping team. He grabbed Hoffman in Detroit while they were in the car. Kuklinski killed Hoffman by stabbing him with a large hunting knife. He said he drove Hoffman. God. He said he drove Hoffman's corpse from Detroit to New Jersey, to a New Jersey junkyard. It was placed in a drum, set on fire, and then burnt in the junkyard. Later, fearing the accomplice might snitch, the drum was disinterred, placing in the trunk of a car and the compact into a cube. It was sold as a scrap metal along hundreds of other compacted cars. It was shipped off to Japan to use to make new cars. Deputy Chief Bob.
So supposedly, somebody's driving around in a car right now made out of Jimmy Hoffa.
With the spirit of Jimmy Hoffa in it. That's what you got. Well, he
spirit
burnt
of
the
Jimmy
body,
Hoffa.
so
Yeah, but still, I mean, it was.
once it's like, you know,
But it was still
melted
in the
down,
drum. Like they didn't separate it, so it's still like his full remains are still in the drum, and then they put
but
the
yeah, his
drum in the
remains
car.
and ashes are in the drum. Yeah,
Yeah.
granted. But I'm talking about the spirit would not go anywhere because it would be inflamed. I mean, I watch Supernatural all seasons.
Yeah, but they didn't salt it too, so it's still
I
got a salt and burn.
Okay. Here's my case. I'm not going to win this one.
You're not going to win. I promise you, you're not.
They shipped it over to Japan.
Okay.
So the oceans contain salt. The salt air got into
but it was sealed
the
in
barrel.
the drum. It was sealed in the drum.
It wasn't sealed
And you can't
crushed.
salt it afterwards. You have to salt the body and then burn it.
No, you can salt the body.
No. You come on, man. 15 seasons. Did you ever see them salt the body after they burned it? 15 seasons. It's you salt it, then they would sprinkle it with lighter fluid, they would light it on fire every single time. Salt first, then you have to burn. You're not going to win this.
They didn't burn it like afterwards. The salt air got into the body.
Exactly, that's my point.
And then they dumped it and got and they melted them down. So that's the fire part. So they got rid of the spirit.
No, it's not the same because then it was already
okay.
burnt.
If somebody drives around in a fucking old Hyundai from the 1980s, and Jimmy Hoffa just appears every once in a while in his vehicle, I will agree. Until then, no.
It would probably be a Toyota or something because I don't know Hyundai. Besides, Hyundai is actually Korean.
Yeah, Hyundai is Korea. You're absolutely right. So it'd be like a Toyota or some shit like that.
Exactly, Mitsubishi.
Yeah. So if those styles of car, if someone had seen Jimmy Hoffa's body floating in and everything, stuff moving around, I will believe you. Until then, I'm right.
I'm telling you, man. Go back and rewatch. You'll see. 15 seasons.
I know.
I see them salt afterwards.
You don't have to tell me, okay?
Apparently, I do have to tell you.
No, I know they salt the ashes, but
they don't salt the ashes. It was the body.
No, not to salt the ashes.
Once the body is burned, you can't. But once it's burned, it's burned. There's nothing left to burn.
There's a lot of this stuff. They just burned the stuff and they didn't worry about the salt.
No, but you got to salt it and then you have to salt it and you burn. No, that was if there was an artifact. If there was an artifact, they would just burn that, and that would be because they had to destroy that because the spirit is tied to the artifact.
Technically, wouldn't they be connected to an artifact because it'd be connected to the drum?
I see, but that wasn't really his. That was just something he was in. It didn't belong to him.
This is true.
You should know better to argue. You're not going to win this.
No, because you believe that you're right. That's the only fucking problem.
It's not a matter of belief. It's a matter of truth. I am correct.
All right, we need to get done with this. You little son of a bitch. Deputy Chief Bob Bonco.
Buccino?
Bronco?
Buccino.
Bruccino? Is it Bruccino? God, this is the reason why I need people, right?
Buccino.
Yeah, Bruccino, who worked on the Kuklinski case, said they took a body from Detroit, where they had one of the biggest lakes in the world, and drove it all the way back to New Jersey. Come on. Got it. I just did the spelling. What's his name again?
Buccino.
Buccino added, "We didn't believe a lot of things he said." Former FBI agent Robert Gritty stated Kuklinski admitted to killing Hoffa was a hoax, and that Kuklinski was never a suspect in the Hoffman's disappearance, adding, I've never heard of him." Anthony Bruno said he investigated Kuklinski's alleged involvement in Hoffman's disappearance, but felt his story didn't check out. Kuklinski made the confession to add extra value to his brand, and so he omitted the story from his biography of Kuklinski. So
I don't know, man. I said it before. Like if anybody did it, it would have been somebody like him.
yeah,
He would have been. And again, they're saying, "Well, I never heard of it." Doesn't that make him the perfect fucking hitman to use?
oh yeah,
Exactly. If anything, that gives it more credence. But what do I know? I just do this for fun.
yeah. We're not
I'm not
professionals.
professional. Exactly.
I'm seeing if okay, yeah, okay, we'll do the personal life because I'm reading this now. Clancy's first wife, Linda, was 9 years his senior. They had two sons, Richard Jr. and David. While working for a trucking company, he met Barbara Pidrick, a secretary at the same firm. Richard and Linda divorced, and he married Barbara in September 1961 and had two daughters, Bendrick and Christine, and a son, Dwayne. Barbara describes his behavior as altering between good Richie and bad Richie. Good Richie was a hardworking provider and an affectionate father and loving husband. He enjoyed time with his family. Barbara remembered that when Medrick became seriously ill and soon after she was born, Richard stayed up night after night to care for her. In contrast, Bad Richie, who would appear at irregularly in intervals, sometimes one day after another, other times not appearing for months, was prone unpredictable fit of rage, smashing furniture and domestic violence. During these periods, he would physically abuse his wife, one time breaking her nose and giving her a black eye. And emotionally abusive towards his children. Madrick later recalled that he once killed her dog in front of her to punish her for coming home late. Jesus.
God damn. Man, I never knew that. Jesus.
Yeah, fucking hell. Barbara stated that he once told Richard she wanted to see other people. He responded with slightly jabbing her from behind with a hunting knife, so sharp that she didn't even feel the blade go in. He told her that she belonged to him and that if she tried to leave, he would kill her entire family. When Barbara began screaming at him in anger, he'd throttle her into unconsciousness. Madrick also remember a number of road rage incidents involving his father. So he wasn't like
just for a second, imagine getting into a road rage incident with the fucking Iceman. That would
I would be grabbing a shovel.
I
I had to be like,
jump out of the car and you know what? go ahead, man. You got this. You got. Go ahead.
I don't get into. That's one thing is like I don't get road rage. I mean, I'll do the occasional.
What the fuck, man?
Fucking retards. Goddamn fucking people shouldn't be fucking breathing and everything like that. That's how far.
Yeah.
I won't track.
I'm never gonna. I'm never gonna follow them. I'm never gonna stop and fucking.
I have been tracked down before during road rage, and that person fastly found out that he was about to fuck around and find out.
We're beyond fuck around. We're in the find out portion of tonight's festivities.
Tonight's festivities is gonna be pretty loud.
I had one time. I had a guy come out and knock on. This is downtown San Antonio, and he felt that I was too close to him at a stop sign or a stop light. Everybody stopped, and he felt I was too close to him, so he kept telling me to get back. He actually jumped out of the car, ran back, and was beating on my window. And I'm like, "Do the light's green, like everybody's waiting on you. Go, fucking up there." And everybody started honking at him, so he jumped back in the car and left.
Since it's still in my vehicle, I think this is legal. It's still legal. But I've had people. Not people, just one person. Get out of the vehicle when I park and they're like banging on my car. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And my automatic response when I hear something like banging on my vehicle is like, get my weapon ready. And I'm like, I'm looking at the guy. I'm just like, well, what you doing? And he's like, you should. I'm gonna get back in my car. Good plan.
That's a great decision on your part.
Great plan. Well, I do need you to explain. No, sir. Okay. You have a good day.
Bye-bye.
He found out that he's still in Texas, I think. At that moment. Not
Let's
knowing.
Not,
and I say these things, and I want people to understand that doing this stuff and everything, some people go, it's like, oh my God, that's his first thought is to grab his weapon and aim it at somebody. And it's just so horrible. It just
you would shoot somebody over that.
It goes from 11 to like -11 really fucking fast. You're lucky that the person doesn't piss on your car after that. It's
the ultimate de-escalation.
Thank you. And I'm not about to commit murder because some guy just gets really upset unless he's about to kill me. But no. It puts the person into his place to the point where he just shuts up and goes away. Now he'll still bark like a.
It provides. Oh yeah, but it provides a focus that mere words will not.
Oh yeah. I've had a couple of times that the person did see that I was carrying as they were trying to argue and everything, and they're still trying. It was like, well, you don't know where I'm coming from. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'll remember after that. I was like, that was kind of weird. He was just ready to be in my face, and then he just walks away. That was weird. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm fucking carrying.
I must have been.
I won't even remember. I'll know if the situation because it's automatic.
Like I flagged.
But I'll forget sometimes where the person just blabs and everything, and I'm like, man, he just walked away pretty fast. I didn't say that much. I didn't say a damn thing. That's kind of weird. And then my hand goes to my hip. And I'm like, oh yeah,
that makes sense.
My Jedi mind trick. Have you ever? Okay,
brought to you by Glock.
one off topic. Have you ever seen something called the Breaking In? You probably never seen it. It had Christian Slater in it. Well, the last episode of the entire series, because it only went out for 2 seasons, there's probably like 20 episodes, combination of the first season and the second season. But they did a Star Wars episode type deal, and they were in a bar, and these two guys goes up against the main characters, but Christian Slater is behind him, and he goes like, "Dude, I don't want to mess with you and everything." And Christian Slater's character is like, "This is the nerd you're looking for." I was like, "This is the nerd we're looking for." Go along. And they redid the scene. They cut back, and then the vehicle is like, dude, last night, what the fuck was that Jedi mind trick stuff? You're like a Jedi and stuff like that. Oh no, dude, they just seen the back end, the butt of my Glock.
Nice. Works every time.
Every time. But anyways, Kuklinski's family and DeMont, New Jersey's neighbors were unaware of his activities and instead believed he was a successful businessman. Barbara described him as a wholesale distributor, and he said he employed an accountant. She did suspect that some of his income was from illegal activities due to their lifestyle and a large amount of cash he would often possessed. However, given his volatility, she never expressed these worries to me. Yeah, I would, if I was getting shit kicked out of me, I would get shitty. I express these worries to him instead of maintaining a don't ask, don't tell philosophy when it came to business life or associates. If Richard suddenly left his house in the middle of the night, Robert would never ask where he was going. Yeah, I understand that. The Kuklinskis divorced in 1993 when Richard was in prison. Barbara said the divorce was for money reasons. She continued to visit him in prison, but only about once a year. On June 6, 1984, Kuklinski filed for personal bankruptcy, listing debts of $160,000 and assets of only $300. His death in October 2005, after nearly 18 years in prison, Kuklinski was diagnosed with Kuklinski disease and an inflammatory of the blood vessels. He was transferred to a security wing in St. Francis Medical Center in Trenton, New Jersey. Although he had asked doctors to make sure they revive him if he developed a heart attack. His then former wife Barbara had signed a no resuscitation order a week before his death, and the hospital called Barbara to ask if she wanted to goddamn words. Rescind the instruction. She declined. Kuklinski died at the age of 70 in March 5th, 2006. At the request of Kuklinski family, noted forensics pathologist Michael Barden reviewed his autopsy report. Barden confirmed that Kuklinski died of a cardiac arrest and suffered a heart disease. Michael Shannon played Kuklinski in The Iceman, which we all know. That's got to get some payback. She must have felt good for that.
Had to.
Because she signed that fucking order, and she's like, "Do you want to?" Fuck no. There's a reason why I signed that motherfucker.
Burn, motherfucker, burn.
Yeah. So that's a case of the Iceman. Barely got through it.
If you ever do get a chance, like if you go back, because I think Netflix has some stuff on him there, and there's this,
I kind of want to watch the
all these ways you can go back and watch him there, because it's chilling.
I watched a couple of his interviews, and they are chilling because he'll just this is literally how he spoke. And if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify or Rumble, whatever, if you're watching this, if you're watching the video adaptation of this, I'll do a kind of an impression of this. Is he just yeah, I killed that guy, and the body was kind of I had to like break his ankles and everything to get him in the drum. So just
Yeah,
matter
it'd
of
be
fact.
like they would ask him, you shot him. Yeah, I shot him. Shot him in the head 5 times. Shot him in the head. He was
Poisonous
looking
gas.
at me when I shot him.
Yeah, poison.
And they're
Poison.
like, how do you feel about that? And be like, needed to be done.
Yeah.
I'd be like, damn, just matter of fact.
Yeah, it
Like
was
talking
like
like you took the trash out.
yeah.
When you get
It was more or less a matter of fact on these things, man.
Yeah.
He was. It's one of those things that I find that it's good to have that documented because you know those people are out there now.
Yeah, that's it's frightening to know that the veneer of civilization is really that thin. Because it
Yes.
really doesn't take that much, honestly, to get somebody to get to that level. I mean, we kind of fool ourselves into thinking, "Oh, I'd never do something like that."
It takes
think it really doesn't. It just all it takes is the right catalyst. And
yeah.
everybody's got their right catalyst. So it's from, I would say, the majority of the population, it's probably their kids. Do something to their kids, and you're going to push somebody to be able to do something like that.
It's gonna be it's that whole like the Killing Joke. One bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all it takes is one bad day.
Yeah. It was like, and I realize this may not be a perfect example because he was already kind of a psychopath to begin with, but that movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
He just reached, like, he was already a disturbed individual, but it just, that moment in time just made that snap happen. And it just goes downhill. Like I said, falling down, it just goes down from there. But there was that one moment where it just, he
Which
snapped and went from there.
I recently watched that. That was a damn good movie.
I need to rewatch that because I saw a couple of clips pop up on my TikTok. And it's such a good movie, and it's so misunderstood. People don't really get. They're like, well, it's he was a good guy. He was a horrible person. But each person that he interacts with along the way is also a terrible, terrible person. Like that's not. Oh, he was he picked on those old guys. Well, no, every single person, the gang members when he was on that rock, the even the fast food people, not to that point, but they were extremely unreasonable. They were bad, in that moment. But the construction workers were shitty to him. The military surplus guy was horrible.
No.
Like each person he runs into.
Not the military surplus guy. I mean, he didn't have Nazi perfect.
You serious?
Oh, he was a douchebag.
Yeah, he was a massive jackass.
He was a.
But as I said, each person along the way, like each person he runs into is horrible, and shows just kind of where society is. It was a massive statement on society as a whole, and that point was just missed on a whole bunch of people that watch it. I still see people arguing about that movie. It's like, yeah, you missed the point entirely.
There's the reason why I can, and don't get me as a bad person. I can feel for that type of person is because I've been in situations like that.
100%. And that's what I say.
If
like
the
you
right
have to
switch was like flipped,
oh yeah,
I would be in jail.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
And that switch.
That's what I say. Like you have to say, because he was already kind of that psychopath because of the shit that was going on with his family and his wife and daughter, and he was going there specifically to hurt them.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. So yes, you can kind of cheer him on a little bit on some of the shit that he did with the awful people that he ran into along the way. But he was also going there to hurt his family.
Yeah.
And he was
going to do a murder suicide no matter what.
100%. And as I say, he's not a good person by any means.
No, he wasn't. But I can understand the plight to where
I
everything
get that
heavy
because
and
especially when he's sitting in traffic and it's just that sweltering heat, and there's no AC. He's got there, everybody's honking. He's got the bugs and shit flying around his head and shit, and then you just hear that voice on the radio just droning, and you just reach that point where it's just like, nope, fuck it, I'm out, I'm done.
yeah.
And
Oh,
there, it's there. Like I absolutely can sympathize with that in that moment in time. Yes.
also, this is totally off topic and it goes again, but it goes with one of our episodes of What the Hell. I was talking, well, the barber that was doing my cutting my hair and everything today, getting me all prettied up. He was saying that the same thing's happening with dogs too. Because he doesn't use regular feed, but there's been there's a documentary on Netflix we got to check out, pet foods or something like that, and they're talking about
Purina food. Is it a Purina brand?
I haven't fully watched the episode. We were like, I had something buzzing in my ear,
but find out, because I'm telling you, if it's a Purina, there's a connection. I'm telling you.
Yeah. It would be really sad if we freaking break this case. And that's where our popularity is because of that shit. Breaking the pet food. I would be okay with it because it's like people's pets and stuff.
Man, don't fuck with the dogs.
Yeah.
The dogs alone, man.
And cats can die, but the dogs, no.
Exactly.
But anyways, that's the end of the show. We're going like way off and everything, off into the transit. But I'm David Dickerman.
I am Chris Jacka.
This is Psychos and Sociopaths. Check us out everywhere and check you guys later. Love you guys.